Happy New Year, everyone! 2015, we hope it shapes up to be a good year for all of you. But I'm sure for some people, it started off, pretty sad even before the new year started. For those who don't know, recently, Christine Cavanaugh, who was a, actress both in camera and in voices, she recently passed away.
Yeah. For those of you who are aware or unaware, Christine Cavanaugh had provided the voices of several animated television shows, such as Oblina from Our Real Monsters, Chucky Finster on Rugrats, and also, notably, Dexter on Dexter's Laboratory.
She was Babe in the movie Babe, the first one. She was Goslin from Darkwing Duck. She was Mona from Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah, that was my personal favorite, was Mona Tibbs on Salute Your Shorts. It's actually kind of ironic because Salute Your Shorts had came out before Our Real Monsters, and it was also while Rugrats was being aired. So it's actually kind of interesting to see because normally. You wouldn't think, normally you don't get to see voice actors in live performances, so I wonder if anybody, when they watched Salute Your Shorts and they saw Mona, if they made the connection that was the voice of Chucky, because, Christina Cavanaugh, she has that very distinctive voice, which I love, and, right away I would just smile, because it was just so cute and adorable, but at the same time, she can play a child voice so well, and I don't think a lot of actors can do that, and at the same time, she could also do the voice of an adult, and really, her distinct voice is what really makes her stand out, and I mean that in a very positive way.
Absolutely, and I think that Christine, even though that she retired from voice acting in 2001, many people still debate on her being the definitive voice of Chucky and Dexter, because later on, they would be replaced by Nancy Cartwright and Candy Milo, respectively. Now, even though that they did a pretty decent job, I mean, nobody can beat Christine, interpretation of the character. I mean, she made those characters who they were.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Candy Milo and Nancy Cartwright, I love them, I really do. And I like Candy's Dexter, actually, because it's very close to Christine Cavanaugh's voice of Dexter. But with all due respect, her voice of Dexter is just so, it's Dexter, and same thing with Chucky. I mean, when you listen to Christine's Chucky and then you listen to Nancy's Chucky, there isn't that much of a difference, but there is but if you really listen carefully, there is a difference. And, it's really sad because she was young. She was 51 years old. I mean, and she has a family, and it was just so devastating and such a blow. Because, you wouldn't think that, and I actually wished that she would participate in more in the Nickelodeon book event. I would have loved to know what was going on during the filming of the production of Rugrats.
Right, and even though that various people from, Rugrats were in the book, such as E.G. Daily, Paul Germain, Joe and Sala Behair, to be quite honest, nobody had heard from Christine ever since she retired back in 2001. This was the first time in many years that we heard anything about her, and the sad thing is that she passed away. And, I know that, she needed to move on, she was, wanting to spend more time with her family and all that stuff, but, in some ways, even though they moved on with other things, in some ways, they still kind of held a special place in their hearts regarding about, the original voice actors. I mean, kind of when we were kids, we didn't really care about who voiced these characters. I mean, we just saw them as, characters. And then when we grow older, the world of voice acting started becoming much more mainstream. We had the internet to let us know about, who voiced our favorite characters. And we had, interviews from various podcasts and books and all different types of media, and recently there was an entire documentary about voice actors called I Know That Voice. There was an indie movie that came out last year called In a World. So, and a lot of people are interested in, doing their own form of animation, and then there's a lot of, indie voice actors from online and stuff, and, you kind of look to the people who voiced a lot of these characters from your childhood as legends, and Christine, even though that she was around for like a couple of years doing these characters, I mean, these characters, they held something special in our hearts.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Patty, what you just said was just right on. It was so on point. I mean, my heart just melts. That, I mean, even though she had retired, that she had passed away, because, she is part of my childhood, and she's part of everybody's childhood, and, it's very hard to know that, because I felt the same way when Harold Ramis had passed away, and the voice of Shredder.
Yeah, James Avery.
That was part of my childhood too, Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, 2014 was really hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people from our childhoods, they passed on, Harold Ramis, Casey Kasem, Robin Williams, Bob Hoskins, and, they didn't expect all of this to happen all in one fell swoop, and, sometimes it's just crazy,
Absolutely.
How did you find out about Christine's passing?
I actually found out through Rob Paulson's Facebook page. That's how I found out, and then, a lot of people were very upset about it, and then, I was just like, I mean, I believe Rob Paulson, but I looked for myself, and I went on the Wikipedia page, and right away they put, the year she was born to today's date. So I was just very, very upset by that. I was just like, oh, you know.
A lot of voice actors, they paid their own respects as well. I saw E.G. Daly's post on Twitter, Tara Strong's post on Twitter.
What did E.G. Daly say? I'm very interested. What did they say, actually? Can you read some of the posts, Patty?
Yeah, sure. Just give me 1 second. I just pulled up E.G. Daly's Twitter page, and it says, had a lot of amazing adventures with the brilliant Christine Cavanaugh, my buddy Chucky, hashtag the Rugrats, R.I.P. Chris, and she posted this little video of, when Tommy and Chucky were both crying, and it's both kind of funny because it's really spastic and fast, but at the same time it's really sad. When you have, E.G. Daly, who is the voice of Tommy from Rugrats, and it's a really nice post, and it's a bit, sad considering that, they both voiced these characters for, 10 years until when Christine retired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now the next one we have is Tara Strong, who's another great voice actress. In Rugrats, she was the voice of Dill Pickles. Make of that what you will, of how you feel about the character of Dill. She posted 2 things on Christine. She said, "The moment I met Christine Cavanaugh, I was starstruck and in awe. She had an ethereal beauty and unparalleled otherworldly genius. Hashtag R.I.P. Angel." And then there's a second post that says, "Bye, sweet friend, R.I.P. Christine Cavanaugh." And it's a picture of the scene in the Rugrats movie in which Chucky is holding on to baby Dill while they're in the Reptar wagon. Here's another post from Facebook, and this is from another voice actor, Greg Berger. Greg Berger, for those who don't know, in Our Real Monsters, he played as the Gromble. And if you checked out my post on the Old School Lane blog, if you know, on Florida SuperCon back in 2013, I actually met the guy himself. So, yeah. It showcased actually some slide pictures featuring Greg, David Eccles, the voice of Crumb.
I want to see that. Do you have a link, Patty?
Yeah. Let me just send it off to you. Hold on. So on Greg's Facebook page, it showcases a picture of him, voice actors David Eccles, Christine, and Charlie Adler, and they're both holding dolls of their respected characters that they voiced in All Real Monsters. He actually shared this from another Facebook page from Vince Gonzalez, and he says, and I quote, "Greg Berger, David Eccles, Christine Cavanaugh, and Charlie Adler, aka the Gromble, Crumb, Oblina, and Ickis, shot at the Klasky Chupo recording studio after one of the All Real Monsters sessions. KC was my first job in animation, and I never truly understood what professional acting was until I saw these guys in the booth. Christine was a true artist, and Greg, posted a response saying, "I had no idea that this photo existed. Thank you so much for taking it and for posting it. A buried treasure." He also posted the LA Times obituary saying, "Rest in peace, Christine." So yeah, a lot of people who worked with Christine, they paid their respects and mentioned about her passing, which is absolutely great to see, considering of how much of an influence that she was in the acting community. Did you get the picture, Kev?
I did. Thank you.
What do you think of it?
Very nostalgic and very sad at the same time because I actually had owned those dolls and. It's such a heartache because they worked so well as a team together, and I love Our Real Monsters, and it's very hard. It really is to know that she's gone because she was so young and it's like that's my childhood show. That's my favorite childhood show, and it's just so hard to watch now because it's like but now that she's gone, but she left such a legacy and such an amazing past and I'm just so taken back by it. And she will always be my favorite voice actress. And I took the news pretty hard, and she's an angel now in heaven with God. And, her family, I feel awful for the family, and they have my support. And, it's just really bad. It's really hard.
I agree. So, what were your favorite episodes of Our Real Monsters that showcased Oblina?
The one where she had to babysit.
Oh, yeah, I remember. And she loses the baby, and the baby ends up with the normal family who just had a child, and they had to watch over the regular child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
And the one where she was human, where they made her into human. To spy on the humans.
Oh yeah, I remember that one, and I believe she a boy had a crush on her.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the one episode in which she had a crush on this monster who was like really snooty, and she tried to constantly impress him, even though that he didn't seem to care. What about your favorite episodes of Rugrats that featured her?
Oh man. Oh man, I can go on. That featured Chucky. Well, definitely the one where he loses his glasses. Angelica plays that horrible prank on him, and it's raining. But the Chucky ones, I felt like I was crying though, because it was so sad. The Mother's Day episode, the one where Chucky and Tommy they do this wild this Texas thing where they go to the playground, and there's just so many awesome episodes.
Yeah, a lot of the episodes were pretty sad. Like, there was the episode in which his bug Melville died. There was the circus episode where he had to. This was the first time in which we found out that he was afraid of clowns, and they tried throwing a circus.
Remember the haircut episode?
Oh yes, in which his hair grew long and he was afraid of getting a haircut, and everyone was trying to convince him to get a haircut. And it didn't work out until, eventually he confronted his fears and got the haircut, which is the only time in the series in which we actually see him with short hair. Not even an all grown up, he had the short hair.
I remember that.
And then there was the episode in which Chucky had the toy rocket, and they thought it landed on the moon, and they turned into astronauts so they can look for it.
What about the one where they go inside of him when he was sick?
Oh, yes, I remember that one, where they go inside of Chucky, and it kind of made it look like one of those B-horror movies.
Yeah.
It kind of almost reminded me a little bit of that episode of the Magic School Bus, in which the class goes into Arnold's insides as well.
Or a Fantastic Voyage, where they all shrunk to go save the president.
Yeah, I think that's where they got the reference from, because if you recall from the beginning of the episode of Rugrats, they were trying to go inside the president's stomach, and then one of the guys wants to detonate it from the inside. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where they got the reference from, Fantastic Voyage. Good eye, Kevin.
No, thank you. So what is some of your favorite, episodes from Darkwing Duck?
Ooh, that's a really good one, considering that even though she was one of the main characters, she wasn't like one of the main focal points, but every time that Gosling was there, she was always a tough, no-nonsense chick who always, tried to, help out with whatever that she was called to do. And, she was definitely really different from all the other female characters that showcase in all the other Disney in the Afternoon programs. You had Webigail, and you had the little girl from Tailspin, but they weren't they weren't anything as awesome as Gosling. She kind of almost reminded me a little bit of Babs from Tiny Toons, in which she was a no-nonsense, chick who always stood for what she believed in.
Yep.
And also Dexter's Lab. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Some of your favorite episodes of Dexter.
Oh, that's really tough because there's so many to talk about. Let's see.
I like the clown episode where he becomes a clown after he gets bitten by the clown.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. And also, I think I really like the episode in which he makes the cookies that were scientific, and then Dee Dee eats one and grows up to be like 50 feet tall, and you build the robot, and the robot is actually the same size as Dexter was if he was a normal size with Dee Dee, and it's just really hilarious. Yeah, there's just so many to talk about. That's one of the good things about looking back, is like you can have fond memories of things, even though that there are some sadness towards it. I mean, we know that Christine is gone, but there's always some fun moments that you can look back on with, just fondness.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, anything you have to say about it right before we go?
No, that's pretty much it.
Alright, so let us know in the comments below about what were your favorite moments of the characters that Christine had voiced or that she had performed in. And, we will catch you later, so take care.
Take care.